Hey everybody, welcome to another DW Plays video. This time I'm taking a look at a game called The Lost Vikings. This was made by Blizzard Entertainment before they were known as Blizzard Entertainment. In case you didn't know, they started out life as Silicon Synapse. And under that moniker they made only a few games. Their first one was a Superman beat-em-up game, and then they made this, and I believe they still made Blackthorn under this, but I know they made Rock and Roll Racing under Silicon Synapse as well. Eventually they would become, I believe it was called Chaos Studios for about a year. It may have been that Blackthorn was released under that, I can't remember offhand. And after that, they became Blizzard Entertainment, and from then on out it was basically nothing but Warcraft, StarCraft, and Diablo for, well, up until today. They did eventually make a sequel to this called Norse by Northwest, The Lost Vikings 2. I have not played that, I don't have a copy of it. The only old games by Blizzard that I do have a copy of are this and Blackthorn. When I say old Blizzard games, I mean before they were Blizzard Entertainment. Rock and Roll Racing I have played, but I didn't play it back in the day. I didn't play any of these games back in the day. The first time I played a Blizzard game was the original Diablo, and, well, we all know how that went. But this is really not my kind of game at all, so I'm not going to play this thing for very long. It's basically a puzzle platformer, but while it's not my kind of game at all, and it tends to bore the living crap out of me, it's at least interesting from a historical perspective, because it was before Blizzard became that company that only makes Warcraft and Diablo and StarCraft. Back when they had, well, creativity. Because they used to have creativity and they used to try different things. It's kind of mind-blowing to think about, isn't it? But, this particular game, there's not a whole lot to it. Each of these three characters you have has their own specific abilities. So this one, for example, can jump, he can run, and he can charge. Which, you have to be running to be able to do that. And he can just barrel through things. This one has a shield. He can raise it up above him, or he can have it to the side here. And if he has it above him, then this one can jump off of it as a platform, which is, I guess, kind of neat. This guy can whack things with his sword, and he also has a bow that he can shoot things with. And you couldn't really tell from what just happened there, but the arrows can activate switches, in addition to taking out enemies. So we can talk to these friendly aliens here, but the basic gist of this game is that these three Vikings have been abducted by aliens, and so they need to find a way to get out off of the alien ship and back home. That's the entire game. It's kind of silly and dumb and ridiculous, but hey, it's colorful, it's cartoony, it's kind of goofy, and it is indicative of what Blizzard used to be. Fun and creative and interesting, and not, well, the horrible frat house that they are now. But anyway, so we're just gonna go ahead and, as you can see, you can shoot the thing there and activate it, and then we just select one of these, we drop it down, and we destroy the ship's computer. We can talk to this guy who says that the security will be after us now. And then we just go back up here. And like I said, we're not going to play this thing for very long, because the game tends to bore the living crap out of me. Yeah, the arrows can activate those switches as well. We're just going to hop up here. We're going to take that guy out. And then we're going to get blasted in the face by a laser, because that's just a thing that happens in this game, and that's not good. We're already low on health. Alright, so what we need to do here to fix this problem is to get Shield Guy here. I don't remember their names. The only one whose name I remember is the red-haired guy who runs fast. His name is Eric. And the only reason I know that is because he is the first character that is introduced into the cutscene, and it names him as Eric. That's it. That's the only reason I know. Because honestly, I don't care to know. But we're gonna go ahead and move these guys into the ladder here. There is another laser cannon down below, so we got to send this guy down here to absorb incoming laser fire so these guys can move. We're gonna have to do it again. Now, there is falling damage, unfortunately, but he's the only one who can actually take falling damage because he's the only one who can really fall off the ladder. And the rest of them just climb. Oh, almost took a hit there. Alright, we're going to use the sword on these guys just for kicks and giggles. And move these along here. Alright. Just keep on moving here. Yeah, Blizzard before they were Blizzard were frankly a far more interesting company because they actually tried different things. They took risks with different genres and styles. And now you're going to see the ramming action. And ram into those walls and get rid of them. We gotta shoot another switch here. Just move him up along with him. You have to get all three of the Vikings to the exit. This is a teleporter. It moves them all down here. Now, this guy can use his shield as a parachute kind of thing, which is really stupid. That's not how wooden shields work at all. They're actually quite heavy. But hey, it's a video game. It's a very cartoony, very silly video game. So who cares? By the way, that music that has been playing this entire time, it just keeps going. And it actually really gets annoying after a while. In case you can't really tell by the tone of my voice. Yeah, I'm already kind of bored here. So we're not going to play this for too much longer here. I think we'll get to the end of this area and then we'll go ahead and call the video there, because the main idea here for me showing this off on the channel is mostly to just to show you this game and give you an idea what it's like, and you can decide for yourself whether it's something you actually might want to play or not. It is available in the Blizzard Arcade Collection. Unfortunately, they did release it as freeware quite a few years ago for one of their anniversaries. And they released it in Blackthorn. And if I remember correctly, they might have also released Rock and Roll Racing. I'm not 100% sure. I'd have to double check. But I know for a fact they released this in Blackthorn. I picked those both up back then, and thus I still have access to them because I saved them. But they removed the freeware releases and bundled them into the Blizzard Arcade Collection, which is this, The Lost Vikings 2, Blackthorn, Rock and Roll Racing, and RPM Racing. Now, I have not played RPM Racing, and I have not played The Lost Vikings 2, so I could not tell you whether they are any good or not. There we go. Had to use the appropriate button there. But now we just move these guys up here, and we're just going to use the cheap tactic of use the shield guy to absorb hits, because he can just do that. And then, well, it's not really a cheap tactic, it's what the game really intends you to do. But we're just going to move them all to the exit here, and I think this is where we're going to go ahead and call the video. But there you have it, folks. That is The Lost Vikings. If this is something that you might be interested in playing, there is the Blizzard Arcade Collection. You'll have to make a judgment for yourself whether this, its sequel, a couple of old isometric racing games and Blackthorn, a cinematic platformer, are worth the $20 that they're asking. I'm not sure why they haven't released them on GOG yet. They did that for the original Warcraft and Warcraft 2, as well as the original Diablo. But for whatever baffling reason, they didn't release these classic games on GOG as well. It's just a baffling decision, but what can you say? It's Blizzard. That's basically the only decision they make these days. At any rate, I hope you all enjoyed the video. If you find the game interesting, I'll throw a link in the video description box where you can grab that Blizzard Arcade Collection. Like I said, you'll have to make that judgment call as to whether you think those games are worth $20 or not. Honestly, the only one of those that I actually had really any fun with is Rock and Roll Racing, and that was the SNES version that I messed around with very briefly. The version that they have on the Arcade Collection, if I remember correctly, is the DOS versions for all of them, but I'm not 100% sure. I know they removed Paranoid from Rock and Roll Racing, though, the Black Sabbath song. So it's technically a neutered version, which is unfortunate. Because the soundtrack was one of the big things that made Rock and Roll Racing actually kind of fun. Unfortunately, you don't get the full soundtrack with the Arcade Collection re-release. It is also on other systems, so if PC doesn't do it for you, if you don't want to use Battle.net because that's the only way to get the Blizzard Arcade Collection right now, then there are other options for you, but honestly, I don't really recommend it, mostly because of my personal bias against Blizzard as a company and their games. I find them to be an extremely overrated company. They did make some decent games, don't get me wrong, but I find what they release to be mediocre but very well polished, to put it lightly. At any rate, that was the Lost Vikings. If you find it interesting, links in the description to where you can pick it up. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Thank you all very much for watching. If you like my channel, please consider supporting it on Patreon. If you can't afford to or don't want to, that's perfectly fine. I understand, but the option's there if you're interested, and every bit does help. Thanks for watching, and I will see you all in later videos. Stay tuned for next week. We'll be back to regular content of reviews, MTOs, and so on, and we'll also still have some DW Plays videos in there as well. So stay tuned for those as well.